Hello, dear friends, and welcome to our podcast dedicated to sight reading through the lens of the historically informed performance practice. My name is Darina, and this is the last episode of the year 2023. I am so excited and so happy. Thank you for your support and joining our podcast. And today I have a particular guest in front of me. This is Danilevskaya, and she is a viol player and a leader of the ensemble Solazzo that is dedicated to medieval music. The name of Anna's ensemble Solazzo comes from a poet who was called Florentine, and his artwork that was called Solazzo, about an imaginary virtuoso instrumentalist that was playing every evening on a different instrument. We were together now at a conference. There was an interesting question that apparently was quite striking for many people about mental health and burnout. And then you also offered like a subject in this little chat that we had. Did you have to deal with that? How did you overcome this?
Well, I wouldn't say I overcame it. That's something that we don't really learn. I had in Barcelona as a student a little bit of, let's say, baggage. No, they offered us how to deal with those things. I think the job of a musician today is 5 jobs together. Today, when I have a group, like all my colleagues, I have to do a lot of things which are not music. It goes from editing scores, which is like still quite related, to all kind of like Facebook things and things like that. So, yeah, and selling concerts, etc., etc., etc. So at the end, it piles up, and it means you have to be polyvalent every day, and you have to jump from one activity to the other very quickly, and that can really wear you off because we are not trained for this. And then everyone finds another way to deal with that, or doesn't, like me. But it's really complicated to communicate about that because we want to always keep a very professional face. And on the outside, it looks like everything is great. And also, like when you ask a musician, how are you? They would say, I'm really tired. I have so much to do. And you never know, like, is it this kind of, I'm really tired, I have a lot to do because we want to show that we have a lot of concerts? Or if actually there is something happening there, and it's hard to tell. But yeah, there are many ways of dealing with that, and I'm exploring one by one. I think that it would be really good that the musicians and the organizers and all the different actors that are in our scene start to be a little bit more open about it, because it's when so many people have the same problem, and I know so many people that have this problem, it means that it's not, that there's something in the system which is not quite there. So I think we should get together and speak about that. Like, how can we lighten up things? How to guide young people that are starting to immediately find support with selling concerts or doing the communication or something, like how to organize better without spending these years of polyvalence. But I have hope. I think people are in a fragile moment, and we feel they are together.
You know, there is one retreat for musicians. There is a lady who organizes that. She's a violin player, and it's somewhere in the mountains, and it's exactly working with that problem. And I was thinking to do that retreat, but on the other hand, we are freelancers and we are so stressed, and it's like in a way a snake eating its own tail, because if you're not working for 1 week, that means you're losing money. How to deal with that on a systematical level? Because you mentioned before, like, people asked you what to do and you said we just need to be kind to each other.
The most work every of this ensemble has, if we do it well, it means that it will create work, because it will create interest. And the year after, this festival will want another medieval concert if it went well. It means the best every medieval ensemble is doing, the best we are doing. So that offers me a little bit a different perspective on competition, because I think in our case it doesn't really exist. But I can understand that for a freelancer in the Baroque market, that's completely another story, where you have to really maintain to not be forgotten.
As you said, you ask a musician, how are you doing? And they either say, yeah, I'm so tired. But then, like, look, I have been playing there, and I played with these guys, and I played in this, I don't know, Victoria Hall or whatever. Often people, musicians, they just constantly promote themselves with, it's like on and off button, and they just go on for that. And it's not anymore a conversation like, really, how are you doing? Like, I haven't seen you for ages. But it's like this self-promotion going on. But then the problem is that maybe they're promoting themselves to other musicians who are struggling with the same problem. Coming back to this question, how to be more kind to each other, where does this kindness start within the field with your colleagues?
I don't know, maybe if we think of things having a virtuous circle, we could turn things a little bit around. And it could be starting by being happy for those people. You know, the wheel of fortune. As a medievalist, I have it in mind. I mean, we could be at any of those places in any moment, and it's just human. We are, at the end, we are all equals. And next year it could be the opposite. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
You're aware of many things. I also realized that not every person in our business, in our field, they are aware of things. And there are some examples of sometimes toxic business when your colleagues, they just talk bad about every other colleague. I was thinking how to bring this awareness that we are all equals, we are specialists, and we should respect each other.
Depends a little bit on which environment and how you are, which habits you are taking. I play a lot in Belgium, and I have to say that it's almost the opposite. It's everyone's very supportive. I never heard any degrading another group or something like that. I think if you don't let those things in your daily life, if you don't let them in, you know, you let them glide over you, and that's at the end, it's not you speaking. You cannot do anything.
And yes, maybe that's a good idea to bring this conversations on the table and to make people aware that some other people, they experience some struggles by not reflected colleagues, or somebody's like overtaking your job with like spontaneously. I don't know, things can happen. Can you maybe describe your best concert experience, or like in a festival? Where does it start? How does it end?
In one of these intents of making my daily life a bit more pleasant in terms of like time spent in front of the computer, I developed another way for myself of looking at what selling a concert is. So first, in the story of our ensembles, first we started, and because the market was so small, we immediately had so many concerts. Then we had an agent who took care of everything. Then he retired, and there was the decision to be made, like, look for another one, but we didn't find a person that we fell in love with. And then we thought, okay, we give it a year or two. until this person comes. And now what I do is I make the environment around very nice, a quiet moment where I feel good. I take a glass of wine and I make nice light, etc., etc. And then it sounds very cheesy, I close my eyes and I imagine my group playing in a hall, in a church or in a festival or in a venue. And when I imagine that clearly, that I can see it, visualize it and hear it, and I know who is singing and why we're singing in a way, and what piece I hear in my ears, then I write an email. And that way, well, the main thing is that it's more pleasant for me. The other thing is that it puts the balance in another way with the organizer. It's not like I'm selling something. It's like I propose you this collaboration and we could do that together, because I think when there's this frontal attitude, and it comes from both sides, like from organizers and from musicians, of like there's this kind of wall, and we sometimes forget that we are there to organize a party together. It's not, a concert. It's an event where people want to enjoy and socialize. And it's as much the musicians that bring something on the table as the organizers, like with all the little things that are so important in the moment of the concert. So it's a way of going together somewhere instead of, convincing.
Great how you described it. And also I wanted to ask you about how do you build relationships between you and your colleagues in your group? How do you navigate in this system of relationships where there is a leader?
So that's always a very delicate relationship to maintain and to cultivate. And like every relationship, you have to take care of it. And you make mistakes sometimes, and people develop in different ways, etc., etc. So it's a permanently evolving magma of emotions.
How do you place yourself in a group as a leader?
I think it's pretty clear. I guess that would be more a question for my colleagues, maybe. I think it's there's something about it that makes me really happy. So there are two sides of the leadership. One is the rehearsal moment, and it doesn't need to be a constant leadership. It's not like everyone shuts up and so on. No, it's still a collaborative thing. It's just that there is a line, and it's like how to just drive together somewhere. It's about that, and make my ideas that I had beforehand also appear there. When we are all there, like on the same vibe, I don't speak much, I think, or maybe I do, no idea. But there's something like automatical and really fulfilling where I don't have to think. It's like I speak without thinking, whatever comes out of my mouth.
Where do you start building up a program? How do you start the process of building up a program?
I have quite a lot of sympathy, in a way, for the themes of the festival. Many people don't like it. I also find it sometimes it's a bit stretch, and we cannot accept every theme because it's too much work. But sometimes there's something there which is just like, when you lit the fire, and it's just what you needed to think, okay, I can canalize that idea into that theme, and that's actually enriching. These theme-based things are surprising because they drive you somewhere you didn't think about. Mostly, we try to express something that's really not an issue, a theme, in our modern lives, something I feel which is in the group. Our first CD was about the freedom of speech. It's called Parle qui veut, and it's very old now. Yeah, and that was like a kind of raw reaction to a little bit of the environment that we were in. And after that, we followed that line of something that's important for us, and that was also in the medieval time. Mm-hmm. So we have one about the ways to escape from the daily life, etc. And now the next thing that we are doing is it's called Confidences of a Fool. And we are coming back a little bit to this idea of freedom of speech, but through the figure of the fool. So the gesture of the court. And it's about the freedom of speech, so being able to say things that others are not able to say and pass them with a little joke. And it's also about the public voice and the private voice. So this mask that you put in front of everyone, and then what happens when you take it away. So what happens when a gesture is alone. And then on the side of these very personal projects, we have also more musicological programs, like the work that we did on the Leuven Chansonnier, so which is really one source, 7 years of work. And yeah, that's another very inspiring way to work, because it forces you to another discipline. It's like not what you are driven to, but it's like study some material until you integrate it completely. And I like these two ways of doing, to have both of them in my life.
Thank you very much, Anna. Fantastic conversation.
Thanks for having me.